It's time for another musical interlude. Let's get started. Talking with people with music in their genes, their blood, and in their soul. You are watching Musical Interlude. Welcome to Musical Interlude. I am your host, Casey Bell, and Madelyn Victoria joins me today on this episode. Let's get started. So what was your earliest memory of you finding music or being musical, or what was your first memory of you finding music as your talent?
Yeah, so what I could, as far as I can remember, I've been singing since I was born, and my family would ask me to sing at family get-togethers, gatherings. I remember my cousins. I was probably like 3 or 4 years old, and everyone would just make me sing, and I didn't realize why, or at the time, I just thought, well, I love to do it, and I didn't mind doing it, and so all my cousins would either record, me, or we had an old VCR recording device, my a camera that my mom and dad had, and they would record me too. So then it went into school. Sometimes I would start humming and singing during a test, and I never even realized, and they would tell me to stop, and it's like, whoa. So it's just been within me for such a long time. And then my first big performance, I was 5 years old, and I say big, but for 5 year old, it's a big performance, being on stage for a high school play, and they asked me to sing Silent Night. And that was, I remember feeling my knees kind of shaky because it was the first time, my first performance, but I enjoyed it. I loved it. That rush was where it began.
And when did you realize this was the choice you were going to make to go into business?
Yeah, so like I said, music's just been a part of me. But when that big decision happened, I had been training and going to these singing lessons, and more of my acting in Dallas. I'd go out there with an agency. My parents, there was a talent search, and my parents took me, and I was recognized. Except they were in Dallas, and my hometown is about 8 hours south of Dallas, or 9 hours actually. That's where my hometown is, and so we would travel back and forth on weekends because I had school, of course. So I was going back and forth, and I was 15 at the time. So then after that, I went to New York, and I was seeing all these different. I was seeing the industry from the inside, and seeing how it works. And I was casted for a few things as far as different agencies there in New York, but I didn't feel like that was the right path for me. But then I was casted for Radio Disney in Dallas at the time, and so during that summer, I believe it was 2006, I was about to be 16. I went up there and I stayed with some families that were also, their kids were a part of Radio Disney. And we performed and practiced, and it was a great time. And the biggest performance we had was opening for the Jonas Brothers, and they were at their big peak right there at the time. And it was at this huge water park with thousands of screaming girl fans. And after we were done with our performance, it just kind of hit me, because that was the first time that it was like a big production kind of feel, and being backstage and seeing how it is. And I said, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to get to one day. And that's, I have to figure out how to do that. And so I came home. I didn't stay up there. I didn't stay up there to go to school. They wanted me to stay up there and continue. But I came back home, and I formed my first band, and I started booking myself. And it's just, I've been continuing on that road ever since.
And how did you even know to do that? And how was your process to just start a band?
Yeah, I had just been, everything I would hear, everything that I would research, everything that I would ask around, what we should do. And it just came natural, because even asking the people that were a part of the industry throughout my whole life, in the training, and what I should do, and just listening to, also growing up to my favorite bands, and figuring out how they did it, and just following those footsteps. And that's pretty much, what is out there, kind of, the steps of what to start in this industry is you got to start somewhere, you got to start playing somewhere, you got to start performing somewhere. There's different options. You could form a band, you could join, your choir, and start to do competition through there and sing. And and I did all of that. You could do solo, singing with track in the background, the national anthem. There's so many different things, and I just tried it all, and trying to see which actually fit. And it was a band, and we actually did some competitions for the FFA organization, where we raise animals, and they had a talent competition, and it went all the way to state and nationals, and we did pretty good. But I just continued after high school as well, just looking at the area. It just sort of came natural, and again, just researching and looking what to do, looking up what to do.
So research is basically the main thing you need to do.
Yeah, I would say research, start to network with the people around you. If you go to, the live shows that are out there, you start to hang out with the sound guy, ask him questions, just try to even talk to the band members, get the idea of what to do. It's more than likely that they're not going to say no to you or ignore you. If they do, then that's just on their part being, that's on their part. But, you gotta learn somehow. And I would say that's considered researching and networking for sure.
And along this journey, what were maybe one or two things you learned or mistakes you made that you found out along the way that you weren't aware prior?
Right. I guess just overall, I was just so excited, and I wanted it to happen right then and there, and just one thing after another. I just thought it was going to grow just so quickly, and it didn't. It takes a while, and you have to realize this industry is tough, and it takes a while, and you got to have tough skin, and you got to keep learning and learning the more and more you go. So I wish I would have just realized that this is going to be a lot longer than you think. So if you think that it's going to be so long, that it's going to be longer than that. So I wish I would have known that, but I'm learning now, and I zoom back on the timeline that I've been on this journey, and I see where I'm at now, and I'm just so thankful for all the experiences and everything that I've learned, all the knowledge that I've gained, and I'm glad in a way, that it hasn't, the big time and overnight success, as they say, hasn't happened yet, because I still have a lot to learn, and even when that does happen, I feel like it's still going to be different steps in that light to keep going and to keep that name out there. And so again, just going back and wishing and knowing that that it's going to be a long road ahead.
Awesome. So Good at Goodbye, what inspired that song, and who was good at goodbye?
I guess you could say a lot of guys were good at goodbye. It's just, again, another road down that you gotta head on and just keep going until that last person you hope is gonna stay. But it started off basically, again, just not specifically about a specific person, just overall, just all the goodbyes that I've had. And then also looking at everyone else's relationships in my family or friends and whatnot, and just kind of gathering that sometimes that goodbye is good, because you are gonna meet that one person that's gonna actually stick with you, and you're gonna be glad. You're gonna be glad that person was good at goodbye. So it starts off like with heartbreak, and it ends with just that redeeming joy that you get whenever you do find that one that you're going to be with. So it's just kind of also just it's kind of uplifting, I guess, towards the end. And one of my friends says it's her song because she loves that song and all the heartbreak that she went through, and then now she's with her fiance, and she's really glad that they were good at goodbye.
Awesome. So I know everything is download now, but I'm assuming at some point you actually were able to make a CD. What was it like the first time you held your first CD, looking at the art and opening it and putting it in the player and listening to it? What were your emotions at that moment?
Oh yeah, definitely. Those are definitely like treasures now, and something that I still plan to produce to make our CDs. Something that people can have and it shows. But when I first recorded, I actually don't have my first recording anywhere available online. I only have it on CD. So whoever got that CD, back then, has that as a cool little memory of what I did. And it's about 5 songs. And actually, I'm here at my house, and I have them on my wall. My first CD, then my second one that is released everywhere online and on a CD. But it's just so just rewarding. Also, something physical in your hand that you can see, and you touch, and it's tangible. And it makes you look at all that hard work, and it's right here in your hand. And it just feels really good. It feels like a huge accomplishment, and it keeps me going. It keeps you going, and you're looking forward to the next release and the next release. And I've waited a little longer in between releases in the past years, but I've put together a plan where I'll be releasing my next album and my next CD that I still will, and also even getting into vinyl. We'll be making some records for those. I know it's made a little comeback in some target markets, so we're gonna be doing that too. But it's just an amazing feeling, accomplishment. I look back and think again of all the hard work and where I was there and where I am now, and it just shows that we're all in this learning process, and I'm just so glad I am where I'm at now. And it's very nostalgic, and I'm looking forward to releasing the next CD, and everyone can get a hold of that at my live shows.
Well, speaking of which, are you working on any new projects at the moment?
Yeah. So let's see. We started probably in 2018, and then I had to make some changes, and then the pandemic hit. So here we are now. But I do have the backbone of most of my songs already recorded. So right now I'm in the process of getting a producer to finish it up, and so we're just waiting on that. I already have like my guy that's gonna master it. So yeah, I do have a new album that's in the works. So after this single's released, if y'all be on the lookout for the album that's coming up. It's going to be a separate release than the song Good Goodbye. Good Goodbye is going to be a standalone single. But when I do release this next album, it's going to be 10 songs, and I'm just super excited. Some of y'all have heard it live. There's some songs that I have played acoustic that you can look up on YouTube. One in specific is one called Don't Blame It on Me, and I'm excited about that one. I believe once the album hits, we're going to try to release it before the year ends. Don't Blame It on Me will be hopefully the first release of it, or the title of the album, Senorita, my song Senorita, that'll be off of that too.
Amazing. So what have you, or do you plan on doing any virtual concerts or small audience concerts?
Yeah, so little by little, restaurants that are outdoors have been calling me, and I've actually booked a couple gigs here now that are outdoors, and here in Texas where there's a capacity is already up to 75%. So we're doing that right now. I have a couple of those coming up, but as far as that's what I'm actually trying to figure out, and I'll be announcing on my social media, is I'm gonna be doing a fundraiser here soon for my album release and the promotion that I need for that, all of that, and I really appreciate all the help from my community, and we'll be doing a fundraiser for that, and that's the idea, is either doing a virtual concert and people can donate, and or we would be setting up at a socially distanced outdoor venue with tables that are separate and whatnot, because we're kind of seeing a light here to things. We're hoping that we're going to be back to normal soon, but if not, definitely going to be doing that virtual concert for a fundraiser. Yeah.
So you said Texas. Are you in a part of the Texas that is not doing so well, or are you safe?
Right. So yes, I was in the middle of where it hit, but we and my family, we have just been blessed that we were not hit that hard. We did not lose our power or pipes. My dad actually came up here and stayed with us, and he was preparing us because he saw that cold weather. So we had the water faucets running. We closed up everything, brought the plants in, and we were just thankful that our electricity stayed. So my heart goes out to everyone around us. So many of my friends, and their family members, that were affected for at least a good week. And then there's a little aftermath of that too, of how they're going to get those pipes fixed or what's going to happen, where are they going to go. So we actually had to have some friends come over here and shower here and do their thing, because it's just a little struggle that, you know, we're us Texans, we're strong though, and we'll pick it up. But that was a very unexpected thing.
Yes, it's kind of weird because, you know, in school, you're in history class learning about all this stuff, and you never think one day your generation is going to be in the history books. And 2020 and 2021 has been some crazy times. And just to think 10, 20 years from now, we're going to be looking back on all this stuff that's been happening.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm a big history fan. So it's kind of something that I always kind of was waiting for, though. I know a lot of people around me, but I'm just like, what is going to be our thing? And it's kind of scary, but yeah, I totally know what you mean.
So my last question for you, it's my fun question that I like to ask people. So if you had the opportunity to work with anyone in the music business, whether they be dead or alive, it could be musician, songwriter, producer, singer, anyone, who would that person be and why?
That one's such a hard one for me, because there's just so many influences that I've had, and I'm also known to not pick any kind of favorites. Like, I have a top 10 favorite artists, I say, just top 10, and they're all like number one to me. So it's kind of hard to pick. If I could pick, let's see, alive, I have to say my favorite artist and inspiration, and the first country singer and song that I've ever heard was George Strait, and that was literally me coming out, being born into the world. The doctor was playing George Strait, so I don't know if that was it or I don't know what, but I'm obsessed with him. I love him. He's a great inspiration to me. I wouldn't say obsessed, but just someone that I really hope can mentor me one day, and that I can ask questions and know, you know, get to know him and just really have that guidance that he had, and just the formula that he did, and pretty much ask him how he did it, and just have his help, you know, and that's something that is amazing. And I would love that with George Strait. Oh, it's hard. And then I want to say someone that they've already passed, but man, that one's a tough one too. I love a George Strait, and a combination of George Strait and the Eagles back in the 70s is probably my favorite. Probably like my style now, like I would say, and the way I would like my songs to be produced and right. But the Eagles and some of that have passed. I would like to get with them and do some songwriting with them and hear their stories. And I know they have a special on TV or on the. I know they had some interviews about what they did and how it went down. But man, those two are it for me.
Straight at me, it hit me right in the heart. You're laughing and smiling. Oh no, now I'm crying and sighing. Why did you go?
Well, that's all the time we have for you today on Musical Interlude. I'd like to thank our guest, Madelyn Victoria, and to you, the audience, thank you for viewing. Have a wonderful day.